Check this out, guys. July 4th.
July 4th. Let's do this.
Happy Independence Day.
July 4th, Independence Day of these United States. So we're representing with our Ride for the Roses jersey we got years ago. We did a Heroes Ride. I think it's called an Honor Ride, not Ride for the Roses.
Yeah,
the Ride for the Roses is in Austin. It's an honors ride they used to have in Houston in the fall. And it just seemed apropos with the stars on the back of that jersey.
The sun has not awakened yet.
Yeah, my head unit is still in dark mode. 'Cause daylight is not officially here.
Up there. I just haven't turned it on yet. That's all.
So we'll make believe that
I had everything ready.
the stripes on the arms represent the stripes on the flag.
And then tapped the alarm and went back to sleep.
Old Glory. Happy Independence Day to everybody.
Oh, this is nice.
We want to honor all the people that make it possible for us to do a ride. Do the things that we love to do.
Something is saying on there.
See the stars on the back of the jersey around the arm, so it's close to the colors of our flag.
I'm wearing a new belt that I bought because I want to make sure it works. And I'm going to
We're,
just use both of them interchangeably.
The heart reminder belt that we use has been discontinued by Garmin because I guess it works too well. It's not the premium strap; it's the inexpensive one. And so we found some copies to just make sure we get some backup. But look at those jerseys. So it's close to the flag of the U.S., so we figure we'll represent on July 4th. On this ride, Paul and I left Northampton, went into the woodlands. Team RR was not riding. Before we got to Fishcreek, we picked up a group after we warmed up, and we rode with them down Fishcreek. You can see the speeds were pretty high. We got into Honea. We left them before we got to Honea because they were going left and we were headed north. And then we took 149 once we passed Montgomery into the forest. So we went up Bailey Grove to Bethel Road, went through the forest. There was just cyclists galore. We didn't film through there, but we filmed before we got out there, and then we filmed when we came back to Richards there. We came back from Richards because Paul wanted to work on some climbs that he had challenges with in the past. So it was a really, really heavy climbing day. And I think we covered about 3,400 feet of climbing on this ride. So that area that we ride, and that's the reason we like going up to Montgomery, is really, really good for building your strength. And so I hope you all will enjoy the clips that we put together for you. It was nice and interesting, and we got a good variety this week.
All right, legends and super legends. We're on Kirkendall Boulevard. It's a beautiful morning, July 4th. Our Independence Day outfit. Right to recovery. So we're gonna be rolling. We don't know if there's any official group because we didn't get any messages on the board. There's no organization. We don't know what they're doing. And I don't believe anything official. People are just gonna probably roll out. So we plan on just doing our thing. We latch onto somebody, we do. All right, my brother.
All right. Let's do this.
The jersey is from a ride what we did called the Ride to Recovery, honoring United States military officers that had been injured in battle. And so yeah, that is styled after Old Glory. So it was apropos to dig that out of the archives for today. Our Independence Day of these United States of America, the US of A. I decided to just triple digit it here, get my body warmed up. There were a bunch of cyclists galore out on this July 4th Saturday, so it was really cool. we saw a bunch of cyclists in USC. In a few kilometers, we get passed by the same guy we had stayed behind a few weeks back. He lives in that neighborhood coming up on the left. We're ahead of him and we're messing around. Paul was filming, he came by. We just kind of kept the distance the same. And once we warmed up, we chased the group down. Because once we warm up, we decided to chase the group down. And you will see the different dynamics between groups that I will explain. But it was an interesting ride. The weather, it says 20 Celsius, and it felt like 20 Celsius. 20 Celsius is about 69, 70 degrees, thereabout, about 69 degrees. It was a very cool morning as far as the air temperature. The air was drier on this Saturday. And that's unusual for us. So even though the temperatures went up later in the day, it still was very pleasant. This is where I tell Paul that I want him to film me from the side as I get in the drops. You should be able to ride all the positions on your bike. If you can't, that means your fit is compromised. You can see how I'm pulling back and kicking over. It saves your legs.
Euro Pro style.
That's good. Keep the lead.
We're messing around, and I don't know if you guys saw him. There's a guy behind us, the same guy that we were behind.
Woodlands Parkway.
And he passes us somewhere around here. Yeah, right there. We just keep doing our own thing. At this point, we're just warming up. What we're talking about is how we're going to orchestrate getting the clips. That's what we're talking about when he went by. The Paulie Lunga got the red, white shoes going and the red pops with those socks.
That's the same guy that day. That's him.
I just tell Paul it's the same guy that passed us that time. Well, that we caught up to and stayed behind.
On the bike.
Yeah, we got passed by a bunch of people while we're warming up. You will see that. It's not a problem. I don't really care. I mean, on Friday I was spinning around, and some lady, she must have been probably 65 or more, zoomed by me on her road bike, and she looked pretty fit. I just smiled. Cyclists of all ages do the same thing. She zipped by, and then she looked behind after she passed me. I just smiled, you know. It's like I had my own plan. I was just out putting around, checking my machine for today's ride. Yeah, Paul's looking really smooth. I really like his derailleur. It is polished aluminum. I'm a bit tired of these dark anodized everything nowadays. A bit nostalgic for the beautiful work of art they used to turn out. We've got a turn coming up, so we're checking for traffic. Tell him it's clear. He comes over. We're going to be turning left. That's what that arrow is for. That's the proper way to use the left turn. If it's too busy and you can't get over, then you go to the intersection and either do a UE or something, but do something that's safe. I go ahead and go through. There's none coming. The light changes as I enter an intersection. I told him, come on, let's go. Because you got about 6 seconds after it flips. You got people running. I mean, this area, people are outside doing stuff every day of the week, especially early in the morning in the summer, because the coolest air is in the morning. This is the coolest it's going to be for the day, because at night, 10 o'clock at night, it might be 78, 80 degrees Fahrenheit. It's not going to cool off that much. So I come to the front to take my pull. You see cyclists going the other way. I mean, it's just, we got tired of saying hi. After a while, I told Paul, I'm not waving at anybody. There were too many people riding this morning, which is cool. It's fine by me. So a lot of times I was just nodding my head or let Paul answer. This road is a drag. It's probably 1 point something to 2 in certain spots, but it is a false flat the entire way, and it goes about probably 5 kilometers. It's going to take us up to Woodlands Parkway. So we've been riding for about 38 minutes at this point. We're still kind of easing into it. It's right at 7 a.m. As I said earlier, Team RR did not post a ride. Mark, who usually sets up the rides, said he was not riding on July 4th. So no one else set up a ride. So we decided, we had already planned to go to Richards today. So I told Paul, let's just head out. And then in about probably 10 kilometers, we see a group and we chase up. Yeah, this guy and this lady passed us, but what we noticed was early in the morning and their jersey was already dirty. Paul and I kind of laughed about it. I was like, I think they just picked it up from the last ride. Because it's kind of early to have the back of your jersey dirty on a dry day, you know. So we laughed about that. But yeah, now it says 1%. If you look at the grade, this road, I really like it. It's Flint Ridge North. It's a good workout because by the time I get there from my home, usually I'm warmed up, and I like it because there aren't any stops until you get to Woodlands Parkway. So you can really get a good workout. The jersey really impressed us. It's been a while since we've worn it, at least 2+ years, maybe 3 years. I don't remember which year we got it. Had to be about probably 2017 when we did that ride. Yeah, 2017 probably. And it's a very, very light jersey. I mean, the material's heavy, but it breathes really well. We didn't have any problems. And I love the fit. I had to downsize when we ordered it because we got it from registering for the ride. Jerseys kind of came with the entry. And so I'm wearing a medium, which means nothing because it might as well be a large. Their large was like an XL. We had to return the jersey and get the right size. I told Paul to back off. I didn't want to get to the light with that guy up there. We just kind of let him go, keep his distance.
Morning.
The main reason we did that is when he came by, he didn't say good morning or nothing. So what it says is he wants to be alone. So we don't need to catch up to him to do anything.
Just to get us out there.
So right here now we're on I believe this is Branch Crossing. Yeah, we're headed towards Terramount. We've spotted a group. We're warmed up completely, and we decide we're going to give it a stick and catch up. I told Paul, I said, let's see if we can catch this group and just sit in and let them tow us into the Honea area. Hopefully they're going that way. We had turned off of Sterling Ridge onto Branch Crossing, and then we spotted them up the road. And so I had to really go hard to catch them. My heart rate will have to catch up. It's always behind, but my legs are working in zone 4. My heart rate is sitting at sweet spot. I'm going harder than that. I'm doing about 26 miles an hour. If you're gonna catch a group, you can't mess around. You gotta do it quickly. Otherwise, you will have to work harder when they pick up the pace. Because they're moving. They're probably doing about 35 to 37 kilometers an hour, which is about 22 to 23. So we're doing about 26, and we get here in a hurry. The catch is made. I kind of move over a little bit so Paul can see. You know, Paul's right on my wheel. The camera makes it look further than this. In a little while, I'm gonna move up and mention to the guy on the rear that we're just gonna sit on the wheels for a bit, just to announce our presence. But he just kind of ignored me. He really did not acknowledge what I said. And that's just this group that we latched onto. They didn't pay anybody no mind. And, you know, that's their prerogative. And that's okay. There's some groups that are not looking to grow their groups. And, you know, they're just riding their bikes and having fun. So, not a problem. But I am responsible for what I do. So it's my responsibility to announce that we're sitting on their wheels. There are little things that they do in the group I will point out just to show the differences in groups. I tap myself because I can tell this guy's falling off the pace. Saddle's too high. That's the first thing I spotted. He's having trouble when the speeds pick up quickly. And so I tap the park and know we need to go around it. You can spot people who have problems with their fit or inexperience quickly in a group. You know, it doesn't hide. And there are a couple of other things that he does at the next intersection after we go through the light. I will point that out so you can be aware when you're riding not to do those things. That's all. That's what it's all about. So we're sitting on their wheels. They're doing about 33 kilometers an hour comfortably. You know, for us, it's not a problem. But just having a little extra company while we head out doesn't hurt. There are a couple of guys with the gray jersey. The guy in front of me, there are about 3 of them that have the same jersey as a team in the Woodlands area. You know, they're on Strava also, and so we're familiar with the name. But this group just kind of, they keep to themselves. It's like they got a little clique and they don't really pay attention to anyone else. And even the guy that we just passed has a mechanical later in the ride. They just kept going, and then someone said he was not with them, so I guess he just latched on. But it appeared that he was with them, and I will point out why it appeared that he was with them from what we observed. So we tried to warn them that he was having mechanical. They didn't pay no mind. Green up. We get there, the light's green. See, those 2 guys got the same gray jersey. Now watch this guy in the orange helmet, kinda. See, he's riding on the crack right there. Why? Decide how you go. Now look, he almost hit that guy. Okay, I froze the frame so you can see that. And I pointed out to Paul. So we keep our distance. We gotta watch them because a lot of these guys have aero bars and they ride them in the paceline because they're riding like they're doing time trialing or whatever. And so we don't really follow them that closely. But he just stands out as the least experienced of the bunch. Which, you know, I don't have a problem with it, but you identify that and you keep your eye on such a person when you're riding. So we back off a bit and just kind of chill and watch. But he's the one that will have a mechanical later, and they don't even wait for him. And then one of the other guys, I think the one in front of me, is behind. And he says that, oh, he's not with them, something like that. So, or from what we had observed, and I will point that out in a few kilometers, it appeared that they were together. So we're just sitting along, and as I told him, we're just sitting on the wheels. And that's it. That's all we're doing. And it's okay. If you come across a group and they're not chatting with you or whatever, you just sit in and enjoy the ride. So I move up, the speeds are picking up. You just get a sense for that. You know? It's picked up and then it slowed down again. The kind of riding this group does is different than road racing. It's almost like you're doing a time trial. They put it in a gear, and what I observed was every time the road went up, it would slow way down because they didn't want to downshift. And then on the downhill, they really pounded the gears. So I would just kind of smile. That's why road racers are just deadly, because a couple of accelerations, these guys will start having problems. Because if you're just used to cruising on every ride in a large gear at one speed, when the speeds start changing and you've never tasted those speeds, yeah, you have challenges. Because road racers can time trial as well. So they can put it in a gear and go, but they can go very fast when they need to break the elastic. It's a different kind of training. You got to train for the event you're in. Whatever event they're in, they need to be on the TT bars, riding a large gear at, I guess, moderate cadence, I'd call it, 80s, thereabouts. But you'll see as we sit in, it's kind of interesting. So yeah, that's something to note. There's nothing wrong with it. And so when you're riding with them, you can decide how you want to ride. I don't change my style much because of the group. We turn on Egypt lane here. You notice I turn really wide. I'm just watching these guys. I'm trying to size up who I can follow close and so forth. I really like that jersey. We have not worn it enough, in my opinion, because it's a great hot weather jersey. I was very, very pleased with it. It looked sharp and it did the job. Because this was one of our hotter days, probably the hottest day we've had all season so far. We hit 32 Celsius, you know, it's pretty hot. It was hot and we had dry air.
They're sketchy. Yeah.
I told him, I said that some of them are sketchy.
I noticed.
Yeah, you know, it's just, you just kind of have to, you get a knack for it, you just have to protect your wheel. That's kind of what we know how to do. Now watch what's going to happen at this light. I'm going to let the thing play. I'm not going to speed it up. I want you to observe that the group just stays together. The guys who, they don't look behind to see who's there, to say hi, none of that. They're just talking with the people they know. Now there's the guy, I'm going to put an arrow on him in a little bit. Yeah, that guy. He appears to be with them because he's there. And so later on when he has the mechanical, I try to let them know, and then they say, oh, he's not with us. So they don't even wait when you have a flat. It's like everybody's on their own in this group. So it's a good group to just sit in and, you know, let them tow you along, I guess. But it's not a group that will be growing. They're not cycling ambassadors, let's put it that way. And that's fine. That's not their responsibility. So you have to identify what the characteristics of each group are, and then you kind of roll with it. So they're kind of doing their own thing. They're not looking around. Nobody said hi. They did not acknowledge that we were there. And so we just sat in and rolled along. Just a little off the back now, but we got closer as the speeds picked up. So nothing's wrong with what they're doing. That's their prerogative. But not every group is a social butterfly, so to speak. They're definitely not Team RR or WCC. I'm calling Paul up so we can ride side by side. We're not going that hard here. At this point, there's no reason for us to be tight on their wheels because they're on these. They've got these. Some of them got clip-on bars. Some of them got full-on time trial bars. And whenever they get on them, if their position is not dialed right, they tend to weave too much. If you got too much weight on those bars, yeah, you can't control them that well. So you get with a group. What you want to do is identify who you can follow closely. That's what this is about. This is not a criticism. You need to be able to spot who are the experienced riders in the group you're going to ride with. Those are the people you follow closely. The people that look like what they call squirrels. The people that are all over the road, switching around. Give them some room. There's no reason you don't want to follow that person tightly. It's just too much of a nervous situation when they're doing like that. So that's the reason for identifying who's experienced and who's not. When I'm following Mo, I'm like 1 or 2 inches off his wheel. If I'm following other people, I give them more room. And I'm not the only one that does that. That's just a thing that cyclists do. You know, you identify who's very experienced, very safe, and then you tighten it up with those people. You know. And a lot of times the stronger riders are fairly safe because if you're in a breakaway and you don't know how to draft, you're gonna work really hard. You got to get tight when it matters. I'm talking 1 or 2 inches off the wheel. They know we're there. They're just not, not a chatty bunch. So they got their own little nucleus and they're keeping it that way. That's fine. I had already told Paul when we get on Fishcreek, get tight. Because I expected the speed to pick up and it didn't. All I'm doing is watching them, not the guys right in front of me. I'm looking ahead to see what's going on up front. That's why I'm a little to the left. I don't know why they're riding the shoulders like that. There's enough of us to pick the lane. This kid is made by Pactimo. It's very distinctive. We're doing 42, 43. We're not near the front. You can see this guy falling off the pace already. When I went by, I looked at him, and he just looked like he was reaching at the bottom of the pedal circle. So his saddle's just a bit high. He needs to drop it a bit. You know, he needs his fit dialed in. If you can't reach the bottom of the pedals comfortably, it really shows up when the effort goes up. A bad fit shows up when the effort goes up. When I fit people, I make them ride hard in the studio. Look at the grade. It's gonna go up just slightly. I just wanted to show right here. We're not at the front, but the guy at the front, his cadence is slow because he has not downshifted. And you can see the speed's kind of hit a lull. Now the road's gonna level off, and then the speed will pick up. So they go hard on the flats or downhill, and then when the hill comes, they back off because they stay in the same gear. See, I don't ride time trials like that, so I don't know why. That's not very good. You need to be able to shift. There's no reason why you should not shift because you're on aero bars. The shifters are right there. Because you need to keep your cadence optimal instead of letting your leg, you know, burn. See my cadence? And look at the speeds we're doing. So I'm probably in a 53, 16, or 17, something like that. A lot of these guys are all the way down the chain, the cassette, in their 12s and 13s and whatever. So you can hold speeds like that in those gears, but when it's time to accelerate, yeah, you're at a big disadvantage. And so for the kind of riding to do that works. But if you were to take that to a group like Mo's group or even Team RR when they're playing, you will be dropped because you just don't have the mechanical advantage. I'm shaking my head because they're just doing all kinds of crazy stuff. If you notice, Paul's just sitting on my wheel. We just decided to stay together here, you know, since, you know, it's like these guys are a little sketchy, so we'll just sit here. We end up getting up through the group as the pace picks up. When people pull off the front, I don't let them in front of me. I move through the group. So we're doing about 31, 32 miles an hour, something like that. I just kept it in like a 16 or 15, something like that. I didn't go all the way down the block. I'm already in the lane. There's no point delaying it. I tell Paul to back off. The light's red. Everybody's slowing down. This guy's coming up with a head of steam. I'm trying to avoid using my brakes and losing momentum. This is a short light, so it will change. There. A soft pedal. Just to wait till they get going. And they're going to pick it up through here. I'm not losing my position because I don't want to get behind this guy on my right. He's already fallen off the pace once, and chances are he will do it again. So I want him behind me. I don't want to be going around him. You see my cadence is at 95 and I'm standing. That's what I'm talking about. It's like when we do different things. And so when you're in a group and you need to do something outside of the range that you normally train in, it's not that big a change. Because dynamically, the way we train, we can handle it. You know, because normally when I'm standing by myself, I don't do 95 RPMs. I might do 85 thereabouts or whatever. Okay, the point I'm trying to make here is that don't try to train as hard as if you're like a a budding or aspiring racer, don't try to train as hard as the race will be. It's not easy to replicate the effort you're going to experience in the race. You can train hard, but if you try to go as hard as the race, you will get burned out because it's hard to replicate what's going to happen from the adrenaline and other things that's going on when you get in the race. So train hard, prepare, and when it's time to push up the envelope, your body will be ready. That's the point I'm making, because you can't replicate race conditions. I don't care how hard you train. It's never the same. Just remember that. Just do your preparatory work and you'll be ready. Same thing for the event. When you're doing a grand fundo or whatever, don't worry about it. Do the time that you think is going to take you to cover so that you have your endurance. And then when you get there, you latch onto a group. That environment will bring out more from your effort. So one of the joys of being in a group is that we're doing 37 kilometers an hour and I'm just in tempo range. So if I were at the front, I would probably be maybe sweet spot or zone 4. That's the benefit of sitting in a group. You can cover more ground. Your speeds are higher for the same effort. They're going hard here, because if I'm at 159, which is about a few beats below sweet spot, and I'm sitting in the draft, they're pushing. And I'm just in a comfortable gear that I can rev between 80 to 100 when I need to. Because they'll go, and then the speed will slow down a little bit. And because we're working hard here, Paul doesn't have time for sightseeing and spinning the camera around. Right now, we're just riding. And since it's wide angle, we get the views that we need. So since the pace is steady, I decided to keep my cadence on favorable terrain in the 90s. And then when we're climbing, I go by pretty much how I feel. Sometimes I would spin more, sometimes I would just push a bit in the 80s. You just gotta listen to how your body feels. So the road's slightly downhill here, -0 to flat. You can see the speeds have picked up. In the distance there, it goes up. When we get to that one, you'll see the speed slow down. They don't downshift and spin up to keep the speed the same like road racers do. That's just their style of riding. And I don't necessarily think it's the most efficient. I move over because I'm passing this guy without trying, so I just want to keep my momentum. The road's going up. Now look, we went from 40 something to 32, and it's only 2%. Look at the guy in front of the guy I'm following. Oh, I wish we'd get another shot. His cadence is so slow. Even the guy in front of me, look at my cadence versus the guy in front of me. I'm pedaling in the 90s, and a lot of these guys are pedaling like 70 to 80. Road's going up, speed's coming down. Because if they really wanted to keep the speed high, they would have to downshift, but they're riding the same gear. That's Ridge Lake Shores we just passed. Fish Creek, although it's wide open, is a tough road, I believe, in this direction. It's up and down. So you just see me, I'm just kind of sitting along, getting sucked along. And look at my cadence, 80 something. I'm just staying comfortable. I'm in a gear that I can rev up when they speed up. I rev up, then I shift up. The road's gonna go downhill, so I know they're gonna speed up. We passed this lady here. She looks smooth on her bike. So you see, we'll go to 40K. We're at 32, 31. We're at 30. So we get 10 kilometers just on the downhill. And we're not pushing on the uphills. Even at the overpass, they don't push. Because Paul and I start chatting, and then we're still able to ride up to them. You look at the guy in front of me. Look at his cadence. Look at my legs. That's the difference. So a road racer would just pound these guys. The elastic would break quickly. After a few attacks, they would sit up. The legs would be toast. But if you're training for a steady event, still you need to have a reasonable cadence, and you really should downshift. I don't like that they don't downshift when the road goes up. That's why you have different gears. Use them. So it's a slight uphill here. Nothing significant, really. Just a little slope. You see I'm soft pedaling. I just tried to make sure my cadence did not drop too much. Now it's going downhill, and then all you do is you hear them click, click. They start getting in the 13 and the 12 and the 11 or whatever they have. They love pushing that. That's what's going on here. See, we hit 50K. We never go that fast down here, but they're hammering. And this entire time we've been with these guys, nobody looked back, nothing. They just ride. And we're just along for the ride. See everything slowing down here, 29 kilometers an hour, because the road went up. It's one of those. Paul's giving me the camera here. He thinks that.
No, back off.
We're gonna hammer.
Yeah,
I told him, I said back off because I don't.
Come over so these guys can go through.
Yeah, we got a long day. One of the other guys, there's two guys behind us. They don't want to go.
I guess they don't want nothing to do with that either.
So I get back in front, and I have the camera here. So I decided to just ride up to them. They're not going very fast. The road goes up. It's like kryptonite to these guys. So my heart rate will probably go up about 7 beats by the time I get up there. and almost at the top, the other guy has a flat. The guy who almost hit that guy on Research Forest Boulevard. I don't know if you'll hear it go psst. Right there. He had a flat tire, so I ride up to them to let them know they're turning left. We're going straight. We ride up to let them know, thinking that they cared.
You got a flat tire! Flat tire! Flat!
Then the guy behind us said, no, he's not with them.
Oh, okay.
He said the guy was not with them, but all indications were they looked like they were partners. You know, they were hanging out, chatting at the light. So.
Say he's not with them? All right, legends. We're getting close to Richards, Texas. We took a back way, and we're trying to give you guys some new perspectives. Look at that. I don't know if the camera will do that justice. Nice little bump.
We're on a little back road
930, yeah, 931. Like that,
off of North
so
Bethel Road.
The group that
We're headed north.
We let them go outside of Honea and we went through the forest. Decided to film some new roads for you all that you have not seen before.
This road will take us to Bays Chapel Road. It parallels 149 outside of Richards, Texas. Very quiet.
Feels like maybe an hour and a half.
It's got it's got some cracks and crevices. It has patina, but it's a nice road. So it's farm country out here. I don't think we were passed by more than one car on this road the entire time. Lots of beautiful trees. Nice terrain. They got some nice climbs out there that we encountered. I'm just looking for the smoothest patches of road to use. Look at those trees. This is beautiful, just peaceful. I mean, you can't really complain about it. Look at this. It's nice. It's up and down. No part of this road was flat. It was up and down, slight grade the whole way. When we go under there, you see it go up. I think this one, Paul tells me that it hit 6%. I wasn't watching the grade while I was climbing. This is where he told me it was 6% back there.
I didn't know that. That's the road we took that time to go to the back way.
That's another one there.
So this road is called Taliaferro Road. Taliaferro, Taliaferro Road, which is unusual because it goes to Bays Chapel Road, and Bays Chapel Road goes to 149 right outside of Richards, about probably 5 kilometers south of Richards.
Yep, that stings a tail.
Yeah, he told me about the next climb. I told him, yeah. It's like we're up and down, up and down.
Yep. 0.4 drag.
You can see it in the distance, but it's not very, very visible. I think we have a car coming, which was very rare on this road. So this road is actually set up, it's also called County Road 209, which is a Forest Service road. This is part of the Sam Houston National Forest. This is east of 149. So we went across 149 to take this road, which parallels 149 to the west, which is left of the direction we're going. But we did this so we'd stay off of 149. This is more scenic and more challenging in my opinion. 149 is really challenging out of Richards coming south, so we took that coming back. You can see in the distance that it curves to the left and it goes up. This part of it is up. You know, yeah, it says 1%. It's a little more than that. Our shifters got a workout on this ride. We're still climbing here. So at 9:42, it's 25 degrees Celsius, which is close to what, 81, something like that. It was a very nice day. My brakes are making all kinds of noise, my rear brakes.
Remember it was all torn up?
Yeah, they had this about a year or so ago, all torn up. Now it's all paved. So Base Chapel Road will take us up to 149. As we approach the corner up there, 149 is right up there. We see that car. Yeah, we're talking about what the surface of this road used to be. It was like chip seal, but it was still decent. They tore it up and repaved the whole thing. They did the entire stretch at one time. This guy on the corner, they're coming back to that car after that ride on the left. He yells and gives us thumbs up. I thought it was somebody we knew. I was too busy looking at traffic to worry about him. So I asked Paul, I hear what he said.
I don't know who that is.
He was more excited than we are about being out here. Maybe he's just happy to see somebody else, as Clint Eastwood said, chewing the same dirt he was chewing. We're right outside of Richards, Texas. We're still in Montgomery County, and I believe the next county is Grimes. You'll be able to see the surface of the road change on the county line.
Yeah, that's good, man.
The road kicks up here. And we just push it. It's not much, maybe close to 1%. But as soon as we hit the county line, it goes downhill. There's the county line with the green sign on the right as we leave Montgomery County. Yeah, Grimes. It's Grimes County. And Grimes County, they don't have the funds Montgomery does. So we hit chip seal. The roads were very lightly traveled this July 4th. Our governor said that everybody was required to wear masks if they cannot maintain a 6-foot distance in large groups in public places, with the exception of people who are outside doing, I guess, outdoor activities like exercise, running, or whatever. I wonder if they're going to give people masks since they're mandating that people wear masks. What if someone does not have a mask? Are you going to supply masks? The other countries are doing that, so I don't know. That was not mentioned. So if somebody says, I'd like to wear a mask, but I don't have one, I can't afford to get one, where do they get one? We're rolling into Richards. The wind picks up a little bit, but not much. So even as the temperature went up, it was still nice. We're barely at 80 degrees right now. I pulled that down because I could see the shoulder flapping on my shadow on the ground. I pulled it down. Stretch it out a little bit. Yeah, that guy was coming up. He's going into downtown Richards, acting like he didn't see us. He's going straight. We're going left. I told Paul, I said, I guess he's late for a convention in Richards or something. Paul said he was coming up behind us, that like he wasn't going to stop. I told Paul, whatever's going on in Richards, ain't nothing happening out here. Richards, Texas. Back in the day when the boys would come with their horses, you know, before these roads were paved, you would see how they line up all the significant buildings as we turn right up there. About 150 yards of the corner there we turn, and it's almost like you hit Main Street. You've got a Mason meeting house and other things, but you can tell this is like the main drag, and it's a 4% climb. You see how basically imagine the boys coming down with their horses. Got an antique shop over there, and we're going towards the grocery store. I don't know if this is the post office or not. I don't know what building that is. The community center. So the money left Richards a long time ago. There's some cyclists at the shop, the grocery store as we get there, as we arrive. They're heading out. We don't spend much time here. We just pretty much stop and go.
This is it.
Not much of Richards.
There's not much going on in Richards.
All right, legends, we're wrapping this up. Back from Richards. We're in Honea Egypt Road. We'll take a little stretch on Tobacco Road the opposite direction from last week. Let's see what gives.
It's 35 degrees Celsius, so it's a significant change. It's about 10 degrees warmer than it was when we arrived in Richards, when we left Richards, I guess. So it's still nice. I mean, the breeze is cool. We don't have a lot of humidity, but it's hot. I mean, hot is hot. You know, we're in the 90s here, Fahrenheit. So we decided to go Tobacco Road south, which is opposite the way we did the last time, as a detour before we take our favorite road back into the city. Honea Egypt Road, this is what we're on. We're on Honea Egypt Road north, closer to Honea than we are to Egypt. So we're gonna turn right on Tobacco Road right there. There's a bit of a hole in that corner there, so I pointed out. As soon as we turn, it's 2%. Kicks up right away. You just feel it. You don't really get a chance to get any kind of rhythm. You know, you turn from a flat road into this, and then boom, it's gonna drop. This is the 8.5%er that we came up the other day. There's a big hole on the right. Like they patched it poorly. I think I take a drink here. Yeah, I remember taking a drink, and I did it quickly so I would be ready for that corner. I don't like blind corners because some of these cars come around too fast. So you know, I took it way out so I could see, make sure it was clear before I got to the corner. There's a hole on the right again that's poorly patched, and you don't want to hit that at speed. So when we left Richards, we hit a bunch of climbs that somebody got a Trump 2020 sign on the fence. We pointed at it. So this road starts going up about here, and it just stays this way till we leave. It's just a long drag. You can see it's going up. It's not vicious. It's probably between 1 to 3%. When we get near the road, and I think it goes up to maybe 5.5%. But you got to get a rhythm when you're on a long climb and settle in, and then you can kind of go harder towards the end. So we climb over 1,000 meters on this ride. So this whole time we've been climbing. And that's why you can replicate climbing with the wind. Resistance. Now it's starting to kick up more. You can see it. It's about 5.7% before we hit the street here. I checked for traffic. This is Honea Egypt. We're back to Honea Egypt. And in a little bit, I asked Paul whether he wants to go on Fishcreek via Leah Drive or do Honea Egypt. And then he chooses our favorite road.
Honea Egypt.
He chooses Honea Egypt, and we proceed. We pass Leah Drive here, and we begin from the far north side of Honea Egypt, headed south. So he said car back, but I told him that they'll have to wait because there's a bunch of cars coming. This lane is not wide enough, so we make him wait. Once it's clear, I wave him over. I think I've already waved, so he can go by. So if the lane's not wide enough, don't encourage them to pass in your lane. That's not safe. We're going into the wind. The wind's from the south, so even though it's 34 Celsius, which is the low 90s, probably 93 degrees Fahrenheit, and the wind feels cool, very little humidity on this July 4th, which is completely different than the day after, which is Sunday. It was very muggy on Sunday, so the weather in our area changes. This part of Honea Egypt, there's a climb that you're seeing right here. It gets up to about 2.5%. And it goes for a bit. So we're going to ride the edge here because it scraped it. We haven't been on this side in a long time, but we're riding just that little paved edge and dodging the reflectors. So you pretty much have to look where you want your wheel to go. You have to practice those kind of skills. Because those ridges that they put in the pavement are uncomfortable. We're still climbing. You just have to find a rhythm. The longer the climb, the more conservative you want to start out your climbing. didn't really have a strip to ride on here, but this one was not as rough. So we rode on the the scraped up part. I'm not sure why they came and did that on this road. The road's fine. They scraped a bunch of the corners. I wave Paul to the front so he can take the lead. Was up and down. Another one of these scraped areas. So, we call this pulling a Mo. This is how Mo rides it. I mean, he'll be leaning and he stays on that little strip. I hope they're going ahead and pave this entire stretch. You know, if they're going to take the time to scrape those corners, they might as well update the road. I know it's expensive, so.
It's Great Lake Estates right here.
This is a Great Lake Estates. We usually come out of there to get on Honea Egypt here. This time we used 2854 and took it from the north side.
This one is not too bad.
I think the worst one that is scraped is the last one before the final hill to get out of this area, which comes up about 10 kilometers from here. So every time the gear felt like it was getting a little heavy, I would kick it up a bit because this road is undulating, but at this point it's mostly flat with just a few slopes. The wind's blowing, and so I'm getting into a rhythm here, easing into the speed. I don't like to force the bike. It's like I like for it to feel fluid. You know, when your form is there, that's how it feels. Now watch where I'm riding. I'm riding on that edge, and there are reflectors there. You have to practice that. You should be able to do that. Just a little strip of asphalt. So we didn't have to go over that uncomfortable surface. This is the new part that they paved. And right here the road goes up slightly and the wind picks up a little bit, so the speed drops. My focus is keeping the effort the same. So I will lower my torso. I think I'll get on the drops in a little bit for some free speed. You don't need to look like you're thrashing all over the bike when you're moving. You need to be smooth. This is endurance pace. I'm holding a good effort, just rolling along. Every time you come on this road, you got to think about that last climb, so you can't let it all hang out before you get to the last climb. This is the one I don't like. It's really bumpy. Paul doesn't like it either. I'm dodging those reflectors. I didn't have to deal with it at all. You can see the climb in the distance. It kicks up, it levels off, and it continues for probably, I would say, at least 3 to 4 kilometers. Total length, maybe. I like to drink before I get on the climb, if I need to drink. And then right about here, you'll see me select the gear right there. Dropped it. I think I dropped on a small chain ring, but shifted in the back, so my cadence did not change. It says 2% here. It's steeper than that. I think right around here. Yeah, that's 3, 4. There we go. Look at the grade. So it doesn't stay there too long, but after it goes to 4 to 5%, then it settles down between 1 and 2 for the next probably 3 kilometers. Since we're going so slow, that's why I'm by the edge of the road. Makes it easy for these guys to go by. We're still climbing here. It might say 0, but no, it's a drag, close to 1%. So this whole time we're climbing. These are how mountain passes are. They're not straight vertical. They've got their gradients, but when they build roads to the mountains, they have to go around. It's just more practical to try to go straight up. So we climbed 3,400 feet in this ride. I've done that kind of climbing in Colorado, so this is great for our area. So it's leveled off at this point. A few little bumps left, but we're rolling, wrapping things up. You have to ride to the point where you're not thinking about pedaling. It becomes second nature and automatic. Muscle memory. Your body just remembers. Then right here I go to the big chain ring because it's starting to go a little down. Yep, right there for the big chain ring. Shift up in the back. That's why you have the gears, to keep your rhythm within its prescribed range. It's going up here. Right here is a little bump. So you got to feel it. Adjust what you need to do. Keep moving. Speed is cadence maintained for the distance. So keep your rhythm the same, and you will progress. I want to welcome our newest supporter, Reed Syaf, who signed up recently to help us keep things going here. I want to thank you for your support, Reed. Welcome to the channel. Appreciate your generosity. I run the credits here to get it out of the way, and then as usual roll the epilogue after that. We're back in town, and of course the density of traffic confirms it. So much more attention is required when you're riding in the city than out where we've been. We're going to be turning left, so in a little bit I start looking back to gauge the traffic flow. It doesn't look like there's much break. I don't know if we pass this corner. I think we go to the next light. It's July 4th. All these maniacs are out there trying to hurt themselves with their toys. So I hope you got a chance to get out this weekend, but that's what we did on Saturday.